So far, we've looked a little bit about what's going on with him, and when I hear ups and down swings, it's a cue for me, and I want to tell you why. Because we've had the meta program trainings, this is important for you guys. If there's an up and down swings, how can we relate this with meta programs?
What do you mean up and down swing?
So an up and down swing is usually some kind of success followed by some kind of lull or some kind
I
of,
see. I see what you're talking about. Okay.
but it's a sine wave essentially where I have success, I have no success, I have success, I have no success.
Mhm.
And if we can relate that with our meta programs, it gives us a little bit more power in our observation.
Limiting belief.
Specifically with towards and away from meta programs. And this is a little bit of a stretch, so I just want to see what you guys have, see if you guys can come close to it or get it.
The only thing that comes to my mind, and it's a complete guess, but the idea that your meta program is changing, and that's what's causing you to see things differently, and possibly causing what's actually happening. But let's say, for example, you start out, I'm going to I'm going to start a new business. You're moving towards that, whatever that is. And you know, a lot of hard work, whatever, and you start having some success, and then you start having more success, and then you start looking at it differently, and you start trying to move away from something. Or, you know, I suppose it could go the other way as well. You start by moving away from something and then towards something, or, you know, is that what you're getting at?
I want to be a little bit more specific, and so
Okay.
let's look at someone's success versus their meta program. If we were to put that on a bar graph or a line graph, what would that look like if you swap out the meta programs?
I have no idea.
And it's not always absolute, but it is pretty a good correlation and distinction here.
You're talking about like an up and then a down and then an up and then a down, and
Mm-hmm.
up, down, like that.
Yeah. Now, if I have a towards meta program, I want to go towards wealth. What do you think my success generally is if I put that on a graph?
Well, it's probably like a gradual up.
Yeah.
It's probably linear or potentially even exponential.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But either way, it's going to be upswing, right?
right. So it'd be moving away from.
Why is that, Jude?
Like an up and down would be moving away from, because even if you do have some success, then once you get to the point, then there's something that you're needing to avoid or get away from, and so then it goes down. And so that's why you get the up, down, because once you get to a point, you're then something's triggering you to move away from that, and then you plummet.
You guys see that, Stephen and Barb?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, is that, yeah, I see that possibility. Is that what you actually observe, though? Is that what you know is actually happening?
Yeah. In my experience, that's what I've seen. And that's the exact distinction I'm looking for. If I have a away from strategy, oftentimes what will happen is that success will have the up and down swings on it. Where, say it's in money, I want to have $10,000 in the bank. That's my safety net. I go and I have that $10,000. I feel really good. I have $12,000. I feel really good. And then it starts to dissipate, and then it gets to 9,000. Okay, time to hustle again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Shawn, I think, I think there would probably always maybe be some downs, but if it's drastic, like I am talking about in the session, and I have experience, it's like up, and then it's a trowel that goes way back down and then up. It's not just like oh yeah, this is a challenge, and then up, and then oh, this is a challenge. It's like up, and then holy shit, this is bad news, and then up, and then yeah, this is bad news again.
Okay, and Shawn, are you saying that happens if and when you're using an away strategy?
Yeah.
More so is the case.
More so than a towards strategy.
So my whole thought behind this is if somebody comes to you and they say, I'm having ups and downs, or if I'm having highs and lows, troughs and peaks, generally what you're going to find is that's going to be more associated with a away from strategy.
Okay.
And
Because
so,
once you get to your $10,000 cushion, you're not nearly as strongly motivated. Is that essentially what you're saying?
yeah, and the success is going to be dependent on what the person is focused on. They're focused on having the $10,000. They're not focused on having the $100,000, the towards strategy where they keep going towards it.
Mm-hmm.
So the success is going to go where the focus is. So after it gets above $10,000, it'll go back down towards the 10,000 down.
Well, and yeah, I agree.
So just a slight generalization. I don't know it's exactly the case, but if I have that picked out in a call or a session with somebody, then I know that that's definitely a reasonable chance, a possibility that they could have an away from strategy.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. That is a good insight.
I've done a lot of work around the abundance in general and abundance thinking, or really work, it was scarcity thinking. So creating the habits to think abundantly and act abundantly.
Okay. What would you want specifically?
I would like to have a constant upward movement of financial gain.
That is my testing it. So I recognize that there's a potential for a meta program that's away from, and I wanted to test it. Testing it is saying, what would you want specifically? If he didn't know, I would suggest that it would be a strong away from strategy that he has with money.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it, test it. What is it? I want to know. And I don't know that that'll even be good enough for me. I think that I'll probably have to go in a little bit more and find out even more finally what exactly is it.
And the security and the safety that just having, or at the very least, just a constant, not the ups and I'm trying to state it in the affirmative and not away from it. So just an even financial income.
Okay. What don't you want?
The ups and downs of the having good time, having good times, having bad times, having good times, and having
Testing
bad times.
some more.
And there's no pattern of, there's nothing external about this. It happens when there's in booming times. It happens in down times. So it's all internal within me, because I've had the booms and the busts at all different times of any economic. So there's nothing other than something within me that is, derailing the good times. And I can give you a real specific example. Was for the first half of this year, I was having a phenomenal year. And then come about July, my third and fourth quarter have been abysmal. And I remember having a conversation with my attorney in July, and we were talking because I was in court with my ex, and we were talking about finances. And I said, I'm having a phenomenal year, so I'm not too worried about it. And it seems like, and I don't know why that conversation sticks in my mind, but it seems like after that, just all of a sudden, everything just plummeted. I had all, my income went down, and then I had all these expenses just skyrocket. So it was like a complete opposite directions all at the same time.
Okay. A few questions for you on this. For what purpose do you think that I let him go on telling all the content of this story.
Well, I think it gives you more insight as to what the problem really is and how he sees that problem. So you're getting really getting a better insight into his map of the world.
Okay. Why else?
I've observed often that when I start saying things to someone out loud that I know in my head, but I've maybe never said them out loud in the same way before, that I often get additional insight into myself by doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this can be a double-edged sword. Barb, you had said that you can get more information from the content here,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely true. However, what happens and what can happen is sometimes you get content that's not useful. So if we're using NLP, we're working with structure of the problem and not so much the content. So, for example, you could have somebody go on and tell you their whole story and all these things. However, it could be totally unrelated to the problem at which they present to you. And by them presenting all that information to you, it can bring up blinders and get you to be a little bit lost in the problem. On the other side of that, it could be exactly the case where, yeah, that's the problem. That's what I need to work on.
Yeah, agreed. I think if somebody presents like a specific a specific example, but you're right, because there's times where people will just start going, and it's almost not even stop them, and then they just get mired in all of it and go on and on and on, and then you get so off from where you started that you can't even remember.
And that's part of the secondary.
Some people that just they're so mired in it, they just start throwing up everything.
Absolutely. I've had that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's quite a few people that do that. I mean, it's just they almost think it's a therapy session.
Yeah.
And it's, there's some to that, and there's a delicate balance to that, but it's not talk therapy.
The corollary reason that I use this is because it gets him really associated.
Ah, okay. Got it.
He's really associated. He's really in the process.
And the benefit of that is what exactly?
I have him all in.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
completely into the problem, having described a recent example. If I didn't give an example, would you probably ask for an example, Shawn?
Probably not.
No?
Probably not. But if you're going to go that direction and it's the start of a session, I'm all for that, because I want to get the person all in. One, I want to get them really invested in the process where they're telling me, what this problem has been like, and then I want them to be fully associated and then giving me everything that they have towards the solution. This is what he has towards the problem, everything that he's tried, used before. And so it has a big investment towards him going and reaching a solution. If, however, he was giving me towards the end of the session, I might not go so far deep into that. Probably not.
So it's a technique to get him to have more skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With the side benefit is it could give me knowledge of the situation that could be useful in the change.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in this, what did he give us that could be a problem, that could be the thing that's causing his money trouble?
The wife in court thing.
Uh-huh. And so why might that be a problem? If we're looking at the structure of the problem, why would it be a problem to have that?
It changes your focus. Can change your attitude. I'm not sure how or why exactly, but I certainly see that it could.
Well, it would disassociate me in looking at an external problem and something else. Pull me away from the specific problem, which is internal.
Why do you think it is that people have a very difficult time getting out of debt? One of the main reasons, at least.
They probably formed habits that got them into debt in the first place.
There's that.
I would say it's people don't take accountability. They got themselves in, but they don't want to take the responsibility for A, that they did get themselves in debt, and then B, taking the accountability and responsibility to get themselves out.
Okay. And what happens with somebody who's in debt after they get paid?
If they're in debt and they get paid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not sure what you're getting at exactly, but like I used to be a mortgage broker, and I did a lot of refinances for people to take equity out of their house and pay off lots of credit card debt. And the problem is they would get paid, and then some of them would just continue the exact same habit of spending more than they're making.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would solve their problem for them, but they didn't change their attitude or perspective or their habits, and they would get right back into the same problem in a year or two.
The debt and the process of being debt is the same. It's a pattern. It's a process that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we look at somebody, look at it as a process, they get paid, and then what happens?
To pay off their debt?
Exactly. Why would somebody not want to make more money in that situation?
Yeah, they don't want to pay off their debt.
Yeah.
And if like in the story Jude was telling us, if that debt is more money to the ex, why would I make more money when it's just going to go to her? I don't get to live. I don't get to experience my money. He gets to experience my money. Yeah.
I see.
Exactly. And so that could be one of the main problems for people in debt. It could be a problem here. I'm not sure. We'll have to test it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But also what I want you guys to notice is an aspect that we mentioned earlier, a few meetups way back, conditioning. If somebody's in debt long enough, how might they be conditioned in the same way? And conditioning is just the process of anchoring positive emotions with positive actions, negative emotions with negative actions, so forth and so forth. But if we have a positive feeling associated with a negative action, we'll continue to do negative actions. If we have a negative feeling associated with a positive action, we'll continue to not do those actions. So for example, with this debt, and after somebody gets paid, they have to pay that debt. What kind of feeling does that probably invoke in most people?
Relief?
I'd say more negative feelings, because now they've paid their debt and they still don't have the money, any extra money to go do other things.
For the most majority of people, they have the negative association that this debt is bad and I want my money and I want my money to go towards what I want. If you reframe it for them and frame it as you're getting out of debt and how good does that feel, then that's when they feel the relief and the good feelings. However, if they have a mountain ahead of them and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get out of this. I paid $200 on it and I have another $30,000, then it's going to be pretty negative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of bringing that full circle with the conditioning as well. What we're seeing here is just a potential that this problem could be brought on with the wife. I'm not sure that that's what it is necessarily at this point, but as he's given me that information, it's of course content. So I'm taking it with a grain of salt and knowing that it's out there and there could be a chance that that's there.
Okay.
Would you be okay if your income was just flat and you knew what it was going to be?
No.
You want the upward trend, essentially.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would that give you?
that would give me peace of mind. It would give me security. It would give me comfort. It would give me the opportunity to be able to help more people and do more in the world.
Okay. How do you know it's fluctuating now?
How do I know that it's fluctuating right now?
Yeah, you had said it's down, and you said that you want to get away from the ups and the downs, but you had said it's down right now. How do you know specifically that it's down or fluctuating?
Speaking specifically to the finances, because I don't have the business that I need to pay my bills.
Okay. How do you know?
Because my bank account shows me every day when I look at it.
Okay, so you look at the bank account and then you look at the bill, or how does it
or
go?
the stack of the bills, or
Okay.
the debt collectors calling, or not being able to do something with my daughters that they want to do because I don't have the money to do it.
Okay.
Or yeah.
But in an uptime, you don't have those. So when it's fluctuating, you go back to that uptime, and then you know all those things aren't in place.
I'm sorry, ask that question again.
When it's an uptime, you know that those things aren't in place.
When it's in an uptime, yeah, I just pay the bills. It's all good. We go do stuff. It's fine.
How do you guys feel about this line of questioning here?
I don't know why you did it.
Okay. Barb, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I got a little distracted by some ringtone or something that was in the background.
Yeah, somebody called my Google Voice while I was doing this. You believe that?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was somebody trying to call
Is it your
Steven.
voice or my
I was like,
voice?
what's going on?
Yeah, it was mine when somebody was doing it. Some web developer was trying to call me at the time. I was like, what? But I muted it after that. I don't know how that got through on the sound.
Okay.
But essentially what's going on here is I want to figure out the process.
Oh, okay.
How do you know you're in up down? How do you know you're in a trough? How do you know you're in a height? What Jude is doing is he's generalizing it. And I want to get specific. I want to know, how do you know specifically that this is uptime, this is time to profit, this is awesome times? The reason for my doing that is because it's going to be different for anybody. The reason behind the meta model, which I'm using here, is how specifically. What specifically does that look like? The reasoning behind using the meta model is so that I can get a very clear representation of what he has in front of him. So what I want to know is, okay, this happens, and then now you know that you're in a trough. This happens, and now you know that you're in a high time.
Okay.
How's that sound for you, Jude?
Yep.
Okay.
You can pay the bills.
Because I have enough money coming in. Because I have enough business.
What specifically is that?
Real estate and coaching.
Yeah. But I mean, specifically, you have X amount of money coming in, or you have X amount of money coming in, and then you say to yourself, okay, that's enough, or how does it go for you?
I've never thought about it. I say to myself, I have X amount of clients and I'm making X amount of dollars, therefore I don't have to worry, and I'm secure, and we can do whatever we want.
Okay. And the opposite, when you're in that down period, would it be just the opposite of that?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have the money. I can't do that. We can't do this. I'm worried and I'm not sure. I'm insecure. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
What's the structure of this?
The structure of this. I saw a really strong confirmation that it's an away strategy. Is that what you're getting at?
And the process that he goes through to get to this conclusion for himself.
I mean, he looks at how far away he is from, problems, basically, right? From
Let's
being,
do it with representational systems. What's his process?
Well, he's looking at things, so it's a visual, he's looking for a visual verification of whether or not he can do what he wants to do.
Okay. What I noticed is that there was the self-talk, and then there was a
Yes.
kinesthetic feeling.
Oh, yes.
And so it might have been brought on by a visual cue. Say, for example, he sees a bill or sees a bank statement or sees how many clients he has. But we know, at least from this, and we've had 2 situations where we've counterexampled it, where he has an auditory process followed by a kinesthetic process. The first one was with the trough. How do you know that you're in a trough? Well, I say to myself, I don't have enough, we can't do this, and then I have an insecure feeling.
Right. Yep.
I can rewind that just so we see that. Probably 6 minutes is good here.
Whatever we want.
Okay. And the opposite when you're in that down period, would it be just the opposite of that?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have the money. I can't do that. We can't do this. I'm worried and I'm not sure. I'm insecure. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. What's the positive benefit?
So that was the follow-up one. The original one was probably around here.
I've never thought about it. I say to myself, I have X amount of clients and I'm making X amount of dollars. Therefore, I don't have to worry and I'm secure and we can do whatever we want.
Okay. And the opposite when you're in that down period, would it be just the opposite of that?
Notice how my question isn't even a good question.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have the money. I can't do that. We can't do this. I'm worried and I'm not sure. I'm insecure. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. What's the positive benefit of being on the downside of that?
I can appreciate more the times when I'm on the upside, that's for sure. And I do.
Okay. And what would you say that you get from being on a downtime?
I get the benefit of very serious self-reflection on what's going on and why it's happening, because I truly feel that I'll manifest all of this for whatever reason.
Okay.
So there are probably some of the most significant times in my learning process and my self-development process, because I don't want it to happen again. And I will do I will do more. I don't want to say more because I do a lot already. I will do, maybe it's just more. I feel that I benefit more from the introspection and the self-work and that I do in these times, because they're so significantly, obviously because the feelings are so significantly difficult.
Okay. After you have those significantly difficult feelings and you have the introspective look and you work with yourself, what happens?
I feel that I come out stronger, better, more knowledgeable, a better person, better father, better business person, better able to help other people.
What happens financially?
I get more money, make more money. And there's there's just this feeling, just a lighter feeling. It just becomes lighter. And it's, like you've got through something and then it's like, now you're like going. And that's the feeling I want to get to, is I want to like have that keep going up and up and up. and not have, come back down and then go, oh, okay.
I wanted to point that out because he has something to move towards there. Do you guys notice that?
Mm-hmm.
The lighter feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And the moving up and up and up.
Yeah.
Up and up and up, and not have, come back down and then go, oh, okay, now.
So he has both, but he does have that going up and up and up, and that's pretty strong. That's pretty congruent. That's what I'm looking at. And if I'm looking at this from an outside perspective, I've formulated a pretty good structure to this problem, where essentially his finances up and down, up and down, up and down. I may even be pretty close to my solution at this time. Because congruently, he's told me what? What has he given me that might lead to my solution for this?
Well, it seems like he has a strategy in place that he uses over and over again. So he gets to where he wants, and then he starts to fall, income and everything starts to fall down. And that gives him that opportunity, which he has stated is very beneficial to him, to do some introspection, to look, kind of reevaluate some things. And then it's like he comes back stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like his strategy of how to become stronger in his business or whatever it is that he is doing as a dad, as a person, whatever. He's got this whole strategy in place, which is unfortunate that part of that, with that strategy, his finances plummet.
Absolutely. This is a total process. That's what he does. It's, I do this, I do this, I do this. I'm at this high. Okay, now I need introspective look. Now I'm at this low. I have this introspective look. Now I'm at up, 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 up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at it as structure. That's exactly what we're looking at. It's a process that he's been successful at. It's a process, a learned behavior that he's become really accustomed to and he's good at doing. And generally, overall, it's giving him good results in his life because he's still alive. He still has money. He's still taking care of his family, and he's right here.
I think it's another piece of that too, that when he said, that he says to himself, he's got, X number of clients, et cetera, that he no longer has to worry about it. So the motivation has gone away.
Mm.
That was what I got as the strong confirmation that it was an away strategy.
One of the other things I want for you guys is that it's a common theme in life that there's going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be waves. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. There's going to be crashing waves. There's going to be falling waves. And in anything in life, there's going to be the ups and downs. So if you go to the bottom, this is what we'll have in a few weeks on this hierarchy of strategies. But if we go on the bottom and we look what most people do with money, most people with money, what they do is they follow the highs and the lows over and over and over again. And so what happens is 1 month they'll do really good. Maybe they'll get a bonus or something and they'll spend it all. The next month their car will break down and they'll spend it all and then they'll have to go in debt to get a repair. The next month they'll do really well and then they'll get out of debt. And they'll keep going up and down and up and down. Do you know the solution for that? Very simple solution. It's pragmatic even.
Don't spend it all.
Or just have a damn emergency fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the solution is to consciously rise above the highs and the lows. So that's
below your means, basically.
Or that, yeah. Or you specifically plan it out. But if I put a structure on it, the solution is to become consciously aware.
Mm-hmm.
Put a name to your dollar. Put an emergency fund in place. And this power of the mind is going to supersede the tides of the highs and the lows that you'll go through in life. And the same with business. If you're going to go through business and you know that there's a slow season and there's a busy season, what can you do to make it so that the slow season is more like the busy season, the busy season is more like the slow season, and it kind of balances itself out?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you become consciously aware of it, you'll give yourself more power in doing that. Fair? I see you thinking over there, Stephen.
Yes, just thinking.
Not starting over, but here it is again. And, you know, not that my life's never going to have that, but maybe we can just like have that something else and just have this set for now and, you know, work through other stuff because it's a trend. And so I want to break the trend because I see the trend.
Okay. And when you're at your peak or when you're getting near peak or when you're near that, how do you know?
It's a feeling of lightness and accomplishment and being able to do what I want to do in, you know, in my life.
Okay. And when you go to that low point, what happens to make you take that time to know that this is a bad time and to take that introspective look?
Can you guess what I'm going to do?
You're looking for the trigger. You're going to use that trigger to do like a swish or something.
But what specifically is going to happen if I look at what he wants and the structure of what he wants? And this can be best summed up by just making a graph. If I have a graph and I have up and downs, just like a sine wave, what am I doing? I've just elicited one, the high strategy, where he's up at the high point, what he does then. And now I'm eliciting the low strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think I'll do with that?
I'm thinking, is there a way to bring those two strategies together so that when he's in the highs, he can also use, you know, have that introspective time. So it's like taking, it's almost marrying the two strategies together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My best hope is that I can get this high strategy. I elicited it. It's this light feeling. It's him feeling good and accomplished. And I want that now to trigger the low strategy state.
Mm-hmm.
So that then he can go back in the introspective look. Then he's at the high, he just goes up higher again. That's the solution. If I break it down the simplest form, okay, I feel high. Okay, now I need to go even higher through using that lower strategy. So he already has the strategies in place. He just needs a trigger to know that it's time to go ahead and use the strategy. And what
It needs to be triggered at a different point.
Exactly.
Well, so sometimes it's forced on me because I don't have the ability to go and do anything else other than focus on myself because I don't have the finances to go out, to travel, to, you know, to distract myself with anything else.
Okay.
So I'm really forced either to sit in it and sit in it and understand it and work on it, or just be there. I don't have other distractions like what I don't watch TV or movies or drink or any of the other stuff. So I don't have any other distractions. So just be sitting in it and understanding it or nothing.
So
and that's partly by design myself because I've seen this trend and now I don't want to be distracted from this anymore and I want to deal with it.
okay.
I want to put an end to it.
Okay. And so what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong in this, but essentially you get to that point where it's a low point and there's no other way than for you to then go ahead and have an introspective look at it. There's no distractions. There's just dealing with it, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
then those distractions are, within the last couple of years of my life. I mean, prior it was, find something else or find some other way to escape the circumstances or situations or the feelings that are involved in it. But, my life has developed such to the point that, that's not possible anymore, which is good.
Okay. What would happen?
It's good.
What would happen if you put this process at the top when you essentially had that lightness of feeling, and then you stopped and had nothing else but this introspective feeling and how to get out of this and into something even better?
How would that feel?
How would that work?
How would that work?
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you guys here that I used away from strategy language. Essentially, I did what I said that I would do, is bring that strategy to the top, but I also did it in words that he can relate more with the away from strategy. I'll rewind that.
And then you stopped and had nothing else but this introspective feeling and how to get out of this and into something even better.
How would that feel?
How would that work?
How would that work?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll share with what I've been trying to do myself now is to keep that feeling at the forefront of my consciousness. And when these other feelings come in, I call it swipe left, swipe right. I'm like swipe left on these feelings, and then just keep that good feeling constantly there. So it's almost like my cross between Swish Pattern and Tinder for my feelings.
Okay. And these feelings in that process, how's that been working? In respect to life?
It's been in respect to life.
Do you feel it going up as far as financials?
Well, this is recent, within like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I mean, it's still static, but I feel better. I don't feel like in times in the past that there's no hope or hopeless or depressed about everything or concern or overly concerned or worrying where I can't stay in the present moment and just be that. I'm always, future pacing, thinking about what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. And that doesn't mean that I fail to plan or really kind of look at the circumstances, but it just, I don't get mired into that and locked into that, that feeling, and have it really just be an anchor that I'm dragging around all day.
Okay. Well, imagine with me, if you would, that we're looking at this as a process where essentially right now, as you told me, it's a downward where you find the place that you need to go introspective, and then you just, after that, you climb up real quick, and then you get to that top point where you're feeling real light and everything's going well, and then you go back down. Now let's go ahead and just work with me here and imagine if you took that point where you're down here and you're introspective and you put that right at the top where you're feeling really light, what then happens?
My life expands like exponentially, unlimitedly, if that's a word. Yeah.
And can you do that now?
Why am I doing this?
So almost like a parts integration.
Yeah.
It is, but why am I not just doing the process?
I thought it was more like a future pacing, like a testing it to see if that is the correct solution.
I am testing it. And that's one of the keys here. But there's something else here that I want to know. One, I want to know that it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, I want to see him try it on. And if he tries it on, what else do I know to be true?
That he's open to the idea
Yeah, he
anyway.
wants it. Yeah.
And essentially, it'll work. It's
Mhm.
not guaranteed, but there's a reasonable chance that if he tries it on and he says, "Yep, I can do that," then it'll work.
Well, right. They're two separate things. He tries it on and he says, yeah, I can see that. And it would look like this, that it would work. Yeah.
Yeah. What's important for me is that if he has it in his mind and he has a good picture of it or representation of it, then he can also have it in his life. So I want to test that. I want to look at the congruency in him and see what happens when he does try it on. If I wanted to, though, I could just say, okay, do it, and I could do a swish.
So when you're looking for congruency, are you looking for anything more than just the words, that are some sort of positive affirmation? Are you looking for more than just that?
Absolutely. So I'll be looking for tonality. I'll be looking at his shoulders right there on the screen, see what they're doing, see if there's any kind of adverse movement. Sometimes you'll get like a little twitch of the neck, twitch of the cheek, anywhere in there. If you notice that, usually it'll be an intuitive noticing by your part. But if you see anything that's not affirming the communication that you're getting, that's a sign that something's a little bit awry.
Okay. So like, yeah, I can see that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And sometimes it is that obvious, even though that it's just a moving or a twitching of the cheek or a tensing of the shoulders or something like that.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I understand. Okay, sure. And you'll become better and better as you do more and more with those.
Yeah.
What if you had this as the new process? How would your life look?
It would be awesome. Yeah, I could do so much.
And so if you had this light feeling and then you knew to go introspective, really look at how you could go even higher. And then you did that and you went even higher. If that was the new process, what would you like?
What subtle technique am I doing there?
Doing some hypnotic language.
Yeah.
And I love I love the way you even changed the volume and tone of your voice. Yeah, it was very nice.
What's really key in that is I will take time for him to fill in the pictures into his mind, for him to fill in the representations that he has, so that he can follow me, but he can also enjoy it and fill it in how he wants to fill it in. So I'll go back through that even.
It would be awesome. Yeah, I could do so much.
And so if you had this light feeling and then you knew to go introspective, really look at how you could go even higher. And then you did that and you went even higher. If that was the new process, what would your life look like 5 years from now?
It's not even deep hypnotic language where I'm saying, as you see this now, then you can start to do that. It's just very subtle. And this happens. Then what happens? Very easy to follow along. Not like a deep technique that takes, tons of practice, but just a very little subtle cue for him to follow along even deeper.
It would look amazing. I'd be able to do so much. I'd be able to help so many people. I'd be able to live the life I want to with my daughters. It would be amazing.
And how about 10 years from now?
Even more. I just think of the ripple effect that I could have in the world. And it would be, yeah, even more impactful.
Okay.
Positive.
Can you look at that future you 10 years from now?
Yeah.
What does he look like?
He's dynamic. He's happy. He's light. He's friendly and fun and loving. Kind and caring. And just loves life all the time.
What's he wearing?
Suit. No tie.
No tie?
No tie.
Does he have a smile on his face?
Two things to be aware of here. And I thank you so much, Jude, for putting yourself out there for us. When we have somebody that's slightly emotional in front of us, what do we know about what they're going through? Generally.
Well, they're very associated with it.
Exactly. Exactly. Whatever it is that they are, wherever they are, they're associated with it, more than likely. So the way I anticipate this or have this is that he's fully there with me in wherever he is, thinking of the future, thinking about what this change will mean for him. The second part of this is part of my structure and what I will do on a change session is this is now building in the prosperity of change. Where before we went through the depths of despair, what it's like now, all the pain that was associated with being the same, now we're looking at the possibility of change. Now we're getting even more motivated because the change is about to occur. It's about to happen. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, always.
Always good. Who does he have around him?
Nobody. It's like floating on the top of the hill.
Okay. What do others say about him?
He's kind, caring, compassionate, loving, peaceful, friendly, funny. That's it.
What's his purpose?
To help people.
How does he know that he's done this?
By having that feeling.
Which one specifically?
That feeling, that light feeling.
That light feeling, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That same one that you get on the top of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that same one that makes you go and think introspectively.
Yeah.
And that introspective thought that makes you go even deeper and even higher.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything stopping you from going and becoming this person?
Myself.
So I could go ahead and take it at face value and say, you know what, I think that change is there. But I want to double check and I want to make sure it's even deeper. And for me, I don't feel like what I've done so far is like that profound. And so I want to see if there's anything else that's stopping him from making this change, anything else that's holding him back. anything else that's going to come up that we need to work with.
One.
The low person.
What does he want?
Safety, security, love.
And if he went up with this high person, he wouldn't have those things?
No, he'd have them.
Can he come with?
Yeah, needs to.
What does he say?
He's scared.
Quick quiz, what's scared? What's fear?
Resistance.
Mhm.
I always say it, what is it? Fear, the emotion of fear, what is it?
Resistance.
No, don't got it. It is, but it's something else, and I say this a lot. Or at least on a previous meetup. Jude, do you know?
No.
Fear is the knowing that something that needs to be prepared for.
Say that again, please.
It's the knowing that something needs to be prepared for. Fear is a message that your body gives you, your mind gives you, that you need to prepare for something.
For, in this case, the change in whatever.
It's something, right? If somebody tells me that they're fearful of something, I know that they need to prepare for something. They might not know what that is. They oftentimes don't, but the structure of fear is that they need to prepare for something.
Okay.
So for example, if I'm worried about my finances and I'm in fear, I know that someday I'm going to have to do something to get myself ready for the first of the month when rent's due.
Mhm.
If I jump in a lion's cage, I'm fearful that lion is going to come and attack me. The positive benefit of fear is that it gets us to take action. When I'm in that lion's cage, I'm not fearful when I move to protect myself.
Mhm.
When I'm planning my finances and taking action towards my finances, I'm not fearful, but I'm in action.
Mhm.
So that's often a reoccurring theme. You will see fear a bunch.
Okay.
What's he fearful of?
Process.
What's the worst that could happen?
He's not broke anymore.
He wants to be broke?
No, he doesn't. So there's nothing.
What does he need to prepare for?
He does, and he's ready. Just needs to do it.
Can he?
Yeah.
Okay. So this part, what's he get from staying where he is?
Broke, depressed, unhappy, lonely, fearful.
And what's all the positive benefit of those things for him?
What he's learned through them.
And what does he get by having all those emotions?
Strength. The ability to help other people through that stuff.
Okay, so by being broke and all these different things, these emotions, he gets the ability to help other people?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he's likely going to want to go and be broke again so he can help more people.
Yeah.
Is that the best way for him to go?
Just be happy in life. Be able to help people at the same time. Just live life. Be happy.
Can you do that instead?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and test. What's going to happen in the next month as things are progressing after this?
Everything will get better. Finances will get better. Life will get more abundant.
When specifically do things turn around in the right direction?
Today.
And how long does it take to get to that normal peak of what it would be?
Just a couple weeks.
Very important, the language that I use here. Did anybody catch it? I used a presupposition. I'm going to rewind it so you guys can hear it again.
Where you said, how long does it take to get there?
Something a little bit deeper. I'll rewind it so everybody can hear it again, though.
When specifically do things turn around in the right direction?
Today.
This one's it.
And how long does it take to get to that normal peak of what it would be?
What am I presupposing with that?
This is now normal.
And the change is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
It normally would be that it would take this long to get to this peak, but now that you've made this change, it's different. Just a small thing with language.
Just a couple weeks.
3 weeks, 5 weeks?
5 weeks.
Okay.
5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks.
What happens on the 6th week?
Gets even better.
Okay, and the 8th week?
Better.
Let's fast forward to 1 year.
He's living the life that he's dreamed of.
Okay. I want to go back again. You had said earlier that you had met with your lawyer. Let's just imagine that you meet with him the next time.
Okay.
And whatever happens there, maybe it's in regards to the ex or such. What happens after you meet with him in regards to the finances?
I'm able to pay her.
Why am I doing this?
Future pacing.
And
So
I want to make sure that he's what's what I'm looking for, that the changes that he's making have become permanent, or he's ingraining those he's not going to fall back to the old ways.
contextualizing them more for him, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
One other reason too.
Are you trying to? Seems like what you're doing is reorienting him towards a towards strategy as opposed to an away strategy. Because in the past, he got that light feeling and he didn't have to worry about things anymore. But now you're making him imagine the future and contextualizing it. Yes, this gets better, that gets better. And it seems like you're trying to orient him to think about all the things that'll get better in the future if he keeps moving towards that.
It's possible. Here, it's a little bit too deep of a change for me to do that consciously. To say, you know what, you have an away from strategy, I want to make it a towards strategy. That would take a lot of contextualizing and mixing and making sure that that's ecological. It is possible that that's what it becomes for him, though, if he chooses to do that on his own. I'm not necessarily leading in that direction, but from this, he could do that. Another reason that I'm bringing up the ex and the lawyer and everything here is I want to double check and see that that's not a problem. Remember earlier when we had talked, he was giving a lot of content. He said that he went to go see the lawyers, talked about the ex and giving her money. So one of the things that come up for me in this is I have the thought that essentially he could get some kind of negative feedback from seeing the lawyer, and then that could encourage him not to make more money. And so I want to test here and make sure that that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, a big one for just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And do you afterwards?
Yes.
And how do you feel after that?
Light.
Okay. Then does the progression still go upwards?
Yeah.
And let's say your interaction with her afterwards. How does that go?
More emotionally stable.
Okay. And the progression with the finances is still going in that upward trend too?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that would break that upward trend as we see it from here going forward?
No.
Okay. When's the next time that you need to have an introspective look at how things can get even better?
I can do that by creating the habits to do that on a daily basis.
Okay.
Without having to have a plummeting life financially.
Okay. How can you be even stronger and help more people?
By keeping that upward trajectory.
Okay. So it's more beneficial than going down, correct? From what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your purpose again?
To help other people and live a happy life.
Okay. And what's your purpose for having more money and going and having that upward trajectory?
To help people and live a happy life.
Okay. And what specifically do you do? What's the first step that you take in that direction once you have money?
Pay off all of my bills.
Okay. And what happens when you do that? When your bills are all paid off?
Then I'll be at a reset and restart place where I can just keep going up from there and not come back down to that.
Okay. After that happens, what's next?
The next is saving money, and the next is utilizing that to buy a house and create some security around
When you say save money, how much specifically?
$100,000.
Okay. And then your next step is what again?
Here, I just want to make sure he is all mapped out and congruent.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, Stephen, this could be a little bit of the moving it to a toward strategy where I'm giving him a lot of direction and making sure that he's going towards all those things. But I just want to make sure that he has this and that there's a place for him to go after he makes this change and it's compelling enough for him.
Compelling enough. Yeah. Okay.
To buy a house.
Okay. How much would you need for that?
Not a ton.
Okay. Is that aside from the 100,000 or is it in addition to?
That's in addition to.
Okay. So you'd have the 100,000, then you'd have a separate house fund.
Yeah.
Can you approximate how much that might be?
10,000, 15,000.
For a down payment, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How big is the house?
How big is the house? It's 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3,000 square feet. and it's by my daughter's school.
You have the color picked out?
Gray or blue.
Okay. And what happens next after you do that in regards to the money and those aspects?
I don't know.
Okay. What's your purpose for having money again?
Help people live a happy life.
Okay. Let's imagine that you go to that place where you have the house. You've also saved up to 100,000. And have you helped enough people, or have you had a happy enough life, or how could you go and have more of that?
No, that's just the start. I mean, that's just getting me secure where.
Notice the questioning. It's really bad questioning, but it gets him exactly where I want him to go to him. So even a question that's ill-formed, as long as it takes him where you want him to go, it's a good question. If I had to do that question over again, surely I'd probably do that so it sounds a little bit better, but it worked. But also notice that he was a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
I knew that there was a little bit more for him to go here. And what I'm doing is I'm tying all this to purpose. If you tie this change to purpose, it's going to be a stronger change than if you just tied it to behavior, if you just tied it to a competency, or if you just tied it to an identity. Tie the behavior to a purpose, it's more strongly associated and more compelling for somebody to go after.
I can really start to have an even greater impact.
Okay. And the next step to go towards your purpose would then be what?
Would be growing my reach and my influence to helping other people.
Okay. And where's your money being directed to at this point? You have the house, you have the $100,000, and then you want to go and affect your reach and your ability to help people, right? Where's the money going?
Into my business.
Okay. And then what happens?
And then the business expands and the money expands, and it becomes like an ever expanding cycle of abundance that emanates out from my life.
How does the business expand specifically?
I'm able to reach more people, touch more lives, help them to change their lives.
Okay. In regards to money also, are you saving up for college?
Yes.
Probably for the younger ones, right?
Yeah. No, am I currently? No.
No, in this process.
Well, in this process, yes.
Yeah, after you have the house.
Saving lots of money.
Okay.
Creating a legacy for my daughters to be able to utilize in their lifetimes for whatever they want.
Okay. So it's a significant amount of money that's coming.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point where the business is growing, it's prospering, you're helping a lot of people. What comes next for you?
Sharing that with somebody in my life.
Okay.
A romantic partner in my life.
Okay. And then after you've had this, I want you to go ahead and jump forward on your timeline. And then go all the way up until your older age, wherever that is for you, just where you kind of determine an older age is for you, an elderly in it. And I want you to look back on your timeline and look and see that all the people that you've helped and the steps that you've taken towards gaining this money goal for you, where it's an upward stream. And then what I want you to do is look how this has contributed to your purpose of helping more people and making an impact, having this upward trajectory of money. And then I want you to see from this elderly age, if there's anything more that you need to do along the way until after you have the house, or even further, if there's anything more that you need to do to contribute to your purpose.
No, I just need to keep living my life how I have in order to be an example for other people to be able to do it themselves also.
Okay. Now come back to now. And the next time that you go ahead and you feel light, what specifically is going to happen for you?
I'm going to touch right here because that's where I've anchored it.
Okay. And then what?
And I'm going to stay present with it. And try to expand it for more than just that time frame, whatever that time frame is. And then keep doing that for a longer period of time each time until it's all the time.
What if we went ahead and we made that light feeling trigger that introspective thought as well?
Okay.
How would that work for you?
I would like that.
You can touch that knuckle when you hear that light or you feel that light feeling.
Okay.
And then have that introspective feeling and look at what happens then when you do that. And how is that?
It's amazing.
Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine doing that 10 times. That light feeling, introspective. That light feeling, introspective. Light feeling, introspective. Light feeling, introspective. Light feeling, introspective. Light feeling, introspective.
You can name a process for this. What would you guys call it?
Swish.
Also chaining anchors.
Oh,
A swish is in essence chaining anchors too. You're just moving from one representation to another.
mm-hmm.
So a swish would be the same.
Were you snapping your finger?
Yeah.
Light feeling, introspective. 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 And now that you have that, the mind's so cool because it works so well. You can just imagine doing that and future pacing that 100 times. Light feeling, introspective feeling, light feeling, introspective feeling, light feeling, introspective time over and over and over again 100 times. Just quick, 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 quick. Light feeling, introspective, quick, quick, quick. Just let it go and let it sit as it goes, and it knows how to do this. Light feeling, introspective, light feeling, introspective. Over and over again. So it knows how to do this. It'll know exactly when to go introspective. And just like that, it knows how to keep up and up and up and up. Where it has light feeling, introspective.
Very subtle cues here. Notice how I just said up and up and up.
Mhm.
I also correlated that with the snapping. Also, it's a pattern that's reoccurring here. It's the light feeling goes to introspective. The snapping is going to be the anchor for that process. But it's a really, really subtle cue that I did right before this. I want to just touch on where I say up and up and up.
Quick, quick, quick. Just let it go and let it sit as it goes, and it knows how to do this. Light feeling, introspective. Light feeling, introspective. Over and over again. So it knows how to do this. It'll know exactly when to go introspective. And just like that, it knows how to keep up and up and up and up. Where it has light feeling, introspective. And just let me know when you're finished 100 times.
Yeah, they're the same now. They're together.
Okay.
It's not, there's no difference. It's all blended together.
Okay. And how's the trajectory look now from your perspective?
Stably upward.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
Comfortable and safe and secure.
You guys hearing that go off
Mhm.
like that? I just got a note that said my internet connection's unstable.
Oh,
That's what that is.
okay.
It goes in and out, so we'll see
Comfortable and safe
now.
and secure.
Okay. Is there anything else that you
And
need?
excited.
Excited. Good.
Yeah.
Anything else that you need?
No, that was good.
Okay. Good.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thoughts, comments, feedback? What do you guys think?
I'm still amazed, Shawn, at how you have become, at how proficient you are.
Oh,
It seems like you're thinking about 5 different things all at once. So I'm amazed at that, and then it makes me wonder what you did to get that proficient.
okay. And thanks for that. And to answer your question, I would just say, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing sessions.
So I need to start going to bars and talking to women.
No. No. And I do attribute that to a great key to my success, but it wasn't the case where I was going and like doing techniques and changing things on other people as much as I was meeting other people. But it was more the case where I'd map it out and I would understand people more by using these NLP tools.
Mm-hmm.
To see that this woman is this way she is now because of a positive benefit, but then also to understand how she got that way, what teachings, what lessons that she had, what beliefs led her to that point. And so for me, it's been a continual process of mapping and understanding what somebody's doing to become the person that they are and to be structured the way they are. Yeah. Which reminds me, I do have you and Jude queued up next. To go. So I'll get that all scheduled too.
Okay.
Jude, how's it been since?
That's my question.
Yeah. How long ago was this session?
Yeah, when do we do this, Shawn?
I want to say it started December.
Oh, it's been that long. So it's been about 5 weeks, almost.
Yeah. It's been much more positive. So there's been a slow, gradual upward trajectory. It definitely hasn't been a back slide or it going back down. So it's been definitely a positive. You know, I don't even remember that last part when you were snapping. I don't remember that even happening when we did it. So it was interesting to watch. I remember everything else, but I don't remember that last part.
Okay. And would you say you're more introspective now? Like it's more of a habit, or?
You know, where the test will come in is when things get really to the top and see how introspective I am, because I am in general very introspective, But when, like I said, when it gets to the low, it's like, well, I've got to be introspective because I got to figure this shit out. And so it'll be, the true test will be when I get back up to a higher high, and then whether it's, you know, whether I feel or activate that introspection to continue to level up from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The one thing you had said, and you kind of gave yourself this as homework on the video, and I wrote it down just as we watched it, was that your task is to create habits to make sure that you're more introspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to make sure that you're doing that going forward, or at least you have one in place that you can do so that that's happening for you.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Good. Barb, your thoughts?
More than one.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a fabulous session, and it kind of thought that I had a couple times was, man, we as humans just get in our way all the time. Because I'm like, it's not, you know, it's like, hey, this isn't just Jude. This is like every, you know, so many people that we just get in our way. And it's like, why? And, you know, so then my head wants to start going, why do we do this? You know, and all that stuff. So, yeah, but it was a little, it's always every time we do these sessions, it's just a reminder to me how vulnerable we are to our own sabotage, but how easy it is to go change that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to the point that we discussed briefly at the beginning, you don't need to know why. You just skip
Right.
over that. Just move forward to the real
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other questions, thoughts, comments?
I don't think so. I guess I just have a request of Jude is just to kind of, as we're going forward in the, you know, weeks and months ahead, just let us know how things are going.
Sure, I will.
I just would love to hear how great everything is going.
Yeah. No, life is good in general. So it'll be interesting to watch the financial piece of it change, because it's already shifted. So I've already felt that. And also see, like I said, when we get to that peak, leveling it up to the next peak as opposed to having it plummet back down. So that's going to be the true test. That'll be exciting to watch. I already know what's going to happen, so it's just going to be fun to go through it this time and have it be a different outcome.
Yeah.
I'm already encouraged because, as I know it, the January, December months are usually a little bit tougher or difficult in the housing market, correct?
Traditionally, yes. Traditionally, for me, no. I usually have phenomenal fourth quarters, and so that's why this year has been incredibly difficult for me, because fourth quarters for me are traditionally really, really good, and this year's my third and fourth quarter were just awful, and so but that's already changing. My first quarter was pretty good, so
Okay.
So, you know, one of the things that that you said about creating conscious solutions is it struck me too, because and I'm going to have to do some work around this and figure this out, because there's at some point where I stopped doing that, because because if I look back on a timeline, these ups and downs were much broader in between them before. And as of the last 3 or 4 years, they've been much more frequent. So there's something that's happened in that time frame in about 3 to 5 years that has changed this. And what you said about that is something that a realization I came to last week too around that also, and have been making the conscious solutions or creating the conscious solutions to overcome those ups and downs. So